Hello there, and good morning. I've yet to get in the shower, but um, there's some stuff that's been released at Adepticon. There's some new Skaven stuff, which from this, which I mean, I don't know. I also spilt some grape juice on my keyboard the other day, so I'm currently without keyboard, and I keep forgetting to go and buy a new one. So life's going well. Spearhead is a fun and exquisitely balanced version of AOS. Brilliant way to introduce. So basically, AOS, that's apparently the simple game, needs a simpler version. Basically, I think what's happened is store managers keep saying we can't play AOS in stores because it's like it's you know, you need quite a big, like can we have like a smaller version and like not Warcry, because that's not AOS. So you know, oh god, I don't want to sign up to the newsletter again. So that's all AOS. I mean, whatever. There's anyway. There are a couple of 9 incredible moments. The 7th one will amaze you. Does anybody actually? I suppose those clickbait style titles probably still work, don't they? Right. Anyway, shut up, Dan. We'll have a look at that. And I can't remember whether there was anything else other than just Dwarves in Adepticon's releases. That link's not working, obviously. Oh, before we talk about Dwarves, actually, I haven't talked about this article yet. No, not that. That one. So this is another Orcish article that I talked about the other day. Oh, pardon me. Choppers are great. Right, I can't remember which article it was, to be honest, but in one of the articles, basically, they said the support for the old world was way better than they expected, and so the scope of what they had planned had changed. So that's from the rules writers. So I think that means that they are definitely going to continue to support it, and it's not just a cynical release, as a lot of people are saying. So, you know. Anyway, I am going to do another video at some point on like an FAQ wish list sort of thing. I need to watch Mounted Miniatures has done one already, so I need to watch that really. I've got a lot of driving today, so I'll do that. I find him a bit shouty, so I find him quite difficult to listen to. But you know, I'm sure people have probably got the same criticism about me, so, you know, whatever. But I'm slightly less, slightly fewer subscribers. Just a touch. Yeah. I mean, so one thing that they have said, so essentially, if you are new to the old world, which you're probably not, but anyway, Orcs and Goblins in the old world, they had this thing called animosity, which meant that units that had animosity towards other units would often just sort of stand there and hurl insults at them, or occasionally just charge them and start fighting them. And that made Orcs and Goblins quite cool, but also an absolute nightmare to put on the table. So, you know, they didn't get taken very often, especially in tournaments, because they just weren't very reliable. I mean, they're cool, but, you know, unreliable. So they've replaced that with Impetuous, and they've got a really good rationale for doing so. In the Orcs, you know, I think he said somewhere that, you know, Orcs will 100% fight amongst themselves, but when there's an enemy stood a few hundred yards away, they're more concerned with closing that distance. Danny, absolutely bang on. That this absolutely makes sense. It's a really good rules change. Yeah, they're not going to be fighting each other when there's non-greenskins when there's an enemy to go for. Yeah, they do, and JTY. I don't know who JTY is. Like, they haven't introduced JTY. JTY Jointy. Is that Joisty? Jesty? Jaunty? Jaunty? Sorry. JT. I don't know who he is. Jonathan Tyler Young. I don't know. I mean, who the hell is he? In fact, who the hell's Danny? Why don't they introduce people properly at the start of articles so we know who's actually talking? And, like, who the hell are they? Like, they've not. I know these, like, Warhammer community articles are written by, like, newly graduated people with marketing degrees or whatever, but, like, just introduce the dramatis personae of an article. It's quite helpful. It's just good writing. Anyway, so that's that. There's also a preview about the Dwarfs, so we'll definitely have a look at that. Orcs and Goblins Classics return, blah blah blah. You've got the giant thing. You've got that's coming back on Made to Order, I think. I mean, this is nostalgia bait, pure nostalgia bait, because the model is honking. These are lovely, especially that troll. I love that troll. It's just the little, the people's eyebrow. They're just lovely. That's a great model. I'll definitely buy one of them. Cool. Right. So, Dwarf and Mountain Holes. There's a bit of a video. Should we just watch the video? And I'll pause it. Oh, loud. Shush you. Grudges will be settled. Gyrocopter, blah blah. Warriors there. More warriors with great weapons. This is the box. This is this box that they're previewing here. Yeah. Epic panning. The Goblin Hewer, I think is what that's called. It's like a thing that just throws lots and lots of axes. It's a bit weird. That's what the Goblin Hewer does. Yeah, that's a... I'd forgotten that about the old world. You used to get like cool little bits along with the models. Still the goblin. Oh, it's a Slayer. Yeah, because it's a Slayer weapon, isn't it? Yeah, so one of the sub-factions, I think pretty obviously, is the Slayer Keep. So just an army of Slayers. Bugman and his little cart is back, which is cool AF. I mean, Christ knows what it'll do, but whatever. There's Josef Bugman. Doomseekers, I think they're called. They're obviously Scottish now. Didn't know that. Surely we should call them Scotch Seekers. Get little bottles of whiskey. That looks like a new model. That looks like a new sculpt. So there's like some. Oh, is that the new? Is that because? Oh, we'll go through that in a sec. I think that's the new Thorgrim Ironbrow. It's a bit younger. Is there anything in there? No. Epicness. Oh, and then they've got an interview. Forge your own path by buying out a restrictive range of miniatures. So there's a picture there of stuff. There's nothing massively new, apart from what the hell is that? That looks interesting. That looks like a new model, doesn't it? It's like something holding aloft a torch. Got some miners there, hammers. So I mean, basically the whole dwarf range is coming back, which is great. Are there any other pictures, or is it just these people talking? You know, Warhammer is such an advert for diversity, isn't it? Like, I always love that about going to tournaments, and you just look around and there's basically just me replicated all across the room. Just funny. You occasionally get a woman there, and there's the occasional black dude, but I mean it's not. Yeah, I wonder what it is about. Is it just like cultural? Is it just like, do you know what I mean? Like, because I mean, Warhammer basically happened in Nottingham in the 80s, and you know, is it just that people like me picked it up, and then my kids are picking it up, and then is it that kind of thing, or why does it penetrate to other? Do you know what I mean? Because it seems to be quite popular in Japan, so don't know. Or is it just like that it's heavily Norse styled, and Norse themes tend to, like, it's a bit like Strongman, you know, like whenever I go to Strongman comps, it's just full of white dudes, and it's just, you know, there's the occasional black guy, but, you know, it's mostly white dudes who look a bit like me, you know, and you know, not, yeah, maybe I am just a walking cultural stereotype, I don't know. But anyway, that's it's nothing to do with dwarves. I don't know why I'm talking about that. I mean, it's not like that's a problem, really, is it? To be honest. Oops. I need to stop talking about that because I have unpopular views. Well, unpopular nowadays. I mean, I like to see evidence for things before I, you know. The problem is, quite a lot of people are quite happy to act their lives without reliance on evidence. That's cool. I like the fact that, as they say in the interview, and rightly so, there are three. The previous one had two dwarves holding him aloft, and it just looked like he'd just fall off all the time, whereas now they've put three dwarves on it. It actually fits the base quite nicely. Where's the model? There you go. And makes more sense because, like, you know, you need 3 legs to a stool, a 3-legged stool. You can't have three. You can't have a two. Oh God, pardon me. You can't have a 2-legged stool, so that just looks way better. You know, and the model's pretty nicely sculpted, and also they've really resisted the temptation to go down the AOS route of just putting tons of detail everywhere. They've put a lot of detail on it for a fantasy model, but actually so for instance, if this were an AOS character model, there'd be like little things going all over here and all over here, and you know, little, probably like other stuff in his beard, and you know, oh look, there's a spare panel, let's put some ornate inscribed just to make it a pain in the arse to paint. You know, and these are quite, it's that all the elements are like quite simple. So yeah, I really like these. These are good. These are good. Just the right level of detail, I think, for a character model, in that, you know, a character model probably would spend a bit more for like decoration on his own armor, but like if you're raising an army, you're not going to be spending an extra, like, you know, 20 ducats per person or per regiment to deck them out with some little dangly crystally bit that doesn't do anything. So we've got the returning of the Rune Smith Lord thing. We've got this is the Warriors box coming back, which is quite a nice box. See core. These are core as well, Quarrelers and Thunderers. You've got, these are Iron Breakers, and these things, which I forgot what they're called. Grudge Hammer Torpedo is the thing that the champion has, and I can't remember what the rest of them are called. Cinderfall, no, jargon. Iron iron shooters, flame shoot iron. Why is mine is iron breakers? I know they're iron breakers. They haven't even named it. Douchebags. I can't remember what they're called. Oh, for God's sakes. Anyway, hammers. They're cool. Weirdly, hammers. Are they hammers? Yeah. Weirdly, hammers only have heavy armor. Apparently, that's heavy armor. It looks like full plate to me, but whatever. What do I know? This is heavy armor, like mail and stuff. They've got like. Because the thing is, look, they've got mail underneath. What is that? That looks like scale armor, and like a full breastplate thing, and like it's almost like a peaked cap, isn't it? I don't know why you'd have a flat cap, really. Not to mention it's quite difficult to manufacture. Weird. Then we've got some Forge World resin kits. Just one set of miniatures returning in resin, but they're a doozy, apparently. Much missed Dwarf command set containing a Lord, him, a Thane. So this is how you get the battle standard bearer. You buy this kit, and a Slayer of Legend. There's something a bit derpy about that. I can't quite work out what it is. There's something slightly wrong with it. Feet. It's the feet, isn't it? I bet it's the feet. Yeah, his feet look bigger than these guys, and these guys have got male boots. Feet. There's that thing about like Warcry warbands all have like they don't wear shoes or socks ever. Just a bit. Somebody's got a foot fetish. Yeah, that's a nice battle standard. I mean, it's a bit too ornate for me. Like, I don't like banners with like stuff that's been sculpted onto it. I like to paint my own banners. Thank you very much. But whatever. That's the choice they've made. We've got a load of metal kits coming back, including this, which is an amazing kit. Like, I think I painted a couple of those back in there. And it's a pretty good kit, actually. It's pretty easy to put together for a metal kit. The only issues I found was this little baker's 4G oven thing, in that these two sides didn't always line up with the top very well, so you just had to put a bit of green stuff in the top there just to balance it off. But that was the only problem I had with that. Yeah, you got all this. You got made to order stuff from the 80s. These are beautiful. They look a bit more like gnomes, really. But yeah, that's the Dwarves. That's the previews. That's the stuff that's been announced. It's all looks pretty good. That's my son, who's decided to get up, and he often just explodes because he's battling something or other. You'll hear a in a minute. Somebody's blown somebody else up. Cool. So, is there anything else about the old worlds? No, we've got Dwarven Mountain Holds. Morning. What else? Yeah, I talked about what's in that the other day. So yeah, that's about it, isn't it? That's about it, isn't it? We've had a quick flick through this, but yeah, I'm glad that Orc Wyvern model's coming back in resin. That's quite good. I think, to be honest, like competitively, what we're seeing certainly in the meta is that everybody has a ridden monster. Like, that seems to be pretty mandatory. However, like, what we haven't seen is loads of people coming out with loads of cannons. So I think yesterday I saw an Empire player going up against Wood Elves, and the Wood Elf player had it's Dave, if you remember Dave, had Treeman Ancient. He's taken my advice, but then sadly his opponent Tom, who had Empire, is quite a fan of the cannon. So I wonder if the cannon managed to blast apart the problem with the Treeman Ancient, is that it can't take magic items. It can only take forest sprites. So although it's big and tough and it's got loads of wounds and it's a great level 4 wizard because of that, sadly what it can't take is like the Talisman of Protection, which is a bit rubbish. But anywho, I'm really glad this is, because I love that model. It's just beautiful and simple and rather plain, and you can paint it like that, or you can add a load of detail if you want to. It's the choice of the. Whereas I think like the massively ornate models that you get nowadays, you don't have any choice because you have to paint all the detail. So essentially that kind of flexibility is taken away from you. And I know I've said that like 3 million times, but I just think it just gives you it. And the other thing is, like, if models are easier to paint, they're easier to paint and they're more accessible. Whereas if stuff is just stupidly ornate, like, it just makes it very difficult. So, I mean, this is why they needed to invent contrast paints, right? They didn't invent contrast paints for speed painters, right? They invented contrast paints because they'd made the models too detailed. And they wanted a way of making those really super detailed models accessible to people, accessible to new painters who perhaps don't possess the skill or the patience. I mean, I don't really have the patience to paint these super detailed stuff anymore, but like, you look at this and it's a fantastic miniature, but there's a load of these, like, little ever-chosen sort of trim is a nightmare to paint because it's not flat. It's like little edges, so you can't just like carefully go over it. You got to carefully go over it and then pick out the ends, and then you got to highlight the ends, and then you got to ink them, but you got to make sure the ink stays in the recesses here and not go. So like just that little breastplate bit there is just going to be that's about an hour's work on its own, just the torso, let alone the rest of it. Like, it's just ridiculous. And like knowing how to do these effects on the shield of like trying to create like a lava sort of thing that's going on, it's actually quite easy once you know how to do it, but it's weird technique, so, and it's counterintuitive, so like people aren't going to know how to do it. And why they haven't done it here where this brand is, like, I don't know, that seems like a strange choice. And then you got this sword thing where it seems to be hot apart from where it would be most hot. Shut up, Dan, criticizing things. I appreciate all the details on like the organic bits, because that's the sort of bit that you could just dry brush, but like, they've put that's really interesting, isn't it? They've put the heavy metal, have obviously decided to ignore that, so they've actually put battle damage into the model itself. Like there's a sort of dint here as though like it's been hit with a great axe or whatever. And the heavy metal team has just decided to ignore that, and they put like little splatters and little scratches. It's a really weird like painting choice, isn't it? Because it looks like they're trying to go for like, I don't know, like constellations almost. It just doesn't feel very battle damage, does it? Like even this little scar in the shield at the bottom there. They love putting those at the bottom of ever-chosen shields, which is, again, don't put them in. Don't make me do that. Like, if I want a nice clean shield, why can't I have a nice clean shield? Like, I know how to do battle damage. It's quite easy. Like, I'm not incompetent, but or new at this. Sorry, not incompetent. That's not fair. But I'm not new at this thing. But I can do it if I want to. But by them putting it in, it forces you to have it in. This is cool. So maybe slaves get their own scenery piece now. But, I mean, whatever. I'm going to get one because that would make a great piece of terrain for the old world, obviously. Because it's just a floating chaos weird thing. put it on a base, you know, a bit of fire on the base, and then I've got a sort of area dangerous terrain, haven't I? So that's cool. I got the orc moor thing, which I'm going to sort of put on a base and like do some stuff around it, and that can be dangerous terrain as well. I pre-ordered it. No, I didn't. Did I pre-order it? Anyway, I went into the store to order it. I think it might have been a pre-order. So yeah, I think yeah.
Can you get the milk for me?
Yeah, give me 2 minutes. So I think that's my family calling me into mid-morning action. So I'm just going to say toodaloo, and yeah, it looks like you know, as they said. I think it's in this article actually. I'll just quickly find it. Stupidity, nomadic war, troll horde, blah 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 blah. Was it at the end? What's next? Here, Danny. Very good name, Danny. Game has been incredibly well received. It's great that so much passion. The scope of the project has grown. So please, so the scope of the project has grown. I think those are the most important words. They're the key take home. The old world Warhammer Fantasy 9th edition is here to stay, or maybe 10th, because you could say the community had a go at making 9th. So 10th edition is here to stay. It's going to be supported. Games Workshop keeps selling out of everything they make for it, so hopefully they're going to make more of it, so I can actually buy some rather than sitting there looking at, you know, we've run out of this. like I couldn't believe that with Team Scorpions. Like I got up at like, I don't know, 9:30 in the morning, so it wasn't even that late really, or 10:30 or whatever it was, you know, on a Saturday morning, and just logged on and, oh, they've gone already. What about catapults? I wanted to, oh no, they've gone too. Great. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I shall wish you a great day, evening, life, whatever. Toodles.